Hi, I'm John Treese Wells.
Hey fam, it's Erica Fernandez.
And thank you for joining Beyond Legacy.
Yes, thank you.
Welcome to those who are just joining us.
Yes.
This is your first episode joining us. And if it is, I'm going to tell you to go back and see the other episodes.
Take a look.
We are in season 1.
Yes, we're in
episode
season
4. And so we're excited. Thank you those who are continuing on this journey with us. If you saw all 3 episodes prior to, we are really excited that you are here.
Yes.
And in the previous episodes, we've kind of just talked about our journey to get here. We've talked about, launching and what it took for us to launch. We've talked about community and partners and just how we've gotten to community and, and challenged you to kind of relate with us and share with us some of your stories about community, about legacy. And that is our whole purpose. Our whole purpose is really to simplify, have fun with, and engage you around legacy, around the thought of legacy, around just what it means to have a legacy. And this has just been fun.
Yeah, it's been exciting. We've been having great conversations and great feedback and posing questions and really looking deeply into legacy. And, we submit and believe in our tagline, you are an impact that never dies.
Absolutely.
We believe that we're trying to be and show up as an impact that never dies. And hopefully we're impacting you to think deeper about legacy, to actually peel back the layers, onion layers of legacy and see how you can actually transform into being the legacy you desire to be.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely. Now this episode and in this time in our episode, it's so funny, Erica, because anytime we're talking about a certain topic of legacy or a certain topic of being an impact, it just seems like we hit a situation that causes us to live what we're
live
saying.
It out.
Yeah, we have to live it out. We have to walk it out. And so this episode is truly dedicated to my friend and my sister over here, Erica, and as they're experiencing, and she's going to share with us what her and her family are experiencing, but it's definitely dedicated to her and your family and your nephew as we are walking out this journey, and you guys get to see it live. Like, this is no sugarcoating. This is every time we talk about something, we face it. And so you get to see us facing the legacy and what that means.
So I think today, we're going to talk about something that's really going to prick your heart and actually, stir up emotions. And it is not my hope, but it is sort of my hope that you actually begin to deal with it. We're going to talk about the legacy of loss, the legacy of supporting in loss. And that doesn't necessarily mean death. You could actually lose a relationship and you need support through getting through what that season looks like. I was just telling John Treese and talking about how I really dealt with loss, even looking back on going when I was a little kid, my mother would dress me up to go to the funeral service, and we would drive up, get to the funeral, and I'll be like, no, I'm not going in. I'm going to sit in the car. And so they'd go in the funeral service, and I would sit in the car literally and wait till it was done. And so I didn't really deal with death a lot at all. And so I just sort of shied away from it. And 2 things sort of transformed that for me, right? One, I was in Bible study with the lady at our church. It was Bring Your Daughter to Work day. Her and her daughter went to work and was riding in the car with another lady going towards Oceanside and got into a car accident, and both of them died on the spot. And I got to see death in ministry and what happens when you believe in God. And I was like, I knew her, I saw her walk with Jesus, and I saw her in Bible study, and now she's gone. And so I really sort of knew where she was, and so my heart was full for her, but understood where she was going. The second incident that happened was my grandmother. I lost her. And what you don't do is you don't understand loss until it hits home for you. When my grandmother lost, I just remember It was a rainy night, it was a stormy night, and we drove, we got that call, and she was gone, and we drove from here, California, to Louisiana to go be there and experience that. And I just remember for the next 3 years, I could just see her laying before me. And I had allowed my health and everything to go kind of in that season because I missed her so much and, wanted so much for her to be and not be. And when I go home, literally to show up, I would go home to Louisiana and go, my grandmother's going to come down the stairs and greet me. And, those things are no longer here. And I don't know that I got the support I needed because I was kind of, I didn't have a community as we've talked about. Right. And so I kind of walked through it by myself. My mother lives in Louisiana. My sister's in San Diego. I live in, Temecula. So it was kind of spread out. And now, the Lord has just have me dealt with death throughout it. I've had to help my best friend bury her 14-year-old daughter. And then 6 months later, she passes away. And then just in this last COVID season, man, I think I've lost about 6 people. Yeah. And today is no different. Unexpectedly lost my nephew. And when I say unexpectedly, it was unexpectedly. Everybody else gave me this sign that they would not be, so I'd have the time to kind of deal with it. Yeah. But this season, I saw my nephew on Sunday. He was fine, at least in my eyes. But God, always have a different plan. Saw my nephew on Sunday. All of us, me, my sister, and his brother, and my brother was there, his uncle. We were all there. And we were just sitting watching. We watched the Chargers game. We watched football. He was eating, eating his dinner and eating his lunch. And we stayed there the whole time. And, as the visitation ended, we left. And so we were like, fine. He's dealing with some complications. And those who don't know, in April, he had to go through a triple bypass. And on that day, he coded twice. The Lord saw fit that he brought him back, and he strengthened, and he was doing well, and his heart recovered and everything. He was on life support. And so for a whole month, he was on life support and not even, so we thought we were going to lose him then. But the Lord really just gave us another 5 months with him. And, on Monday night, unexpectedly, he passed away. His mother left him at 7:30. And then 2 hours later, we get the call that he is gone. And our hearts are so broken because we were preparing for him to come home. Right. Everything that he had been working for was coming home. And he wanted to come home, and he didn't want to die. And we do submit to the sovereignty of the Lord in all of this, but it took him home. And so we are grieving as we speak, with this situation and having a hard time wrapping our arms around death, And so I ask you and, pray for my family for one, help us to walk through this, but in community, we're walking through this together. Yeah. But on the lighter side of this, or the happier side of this, we got to spend that extra 4 or 5 months with him, to be with him every day. His mom went every day, and on the weekends, I went. Yeah. And seen him and just got to know and be with my nephew even more. Tell him you love him. Tell him that you miss him. Tell him the hopes and the dreams, and he could tell you his hopes and dreams, so we knew, what his hopes and dreams was. And one of the things I do with everybody that has passed on in my life, I have something from them. Yeah. Right? Today I wear my father's ring. I wear my grandmother's first wedding set. And from most everybody else, I love to wear hats, and I collect hats. So when I lost my sister-in-law 5 years ago, suddenly, it was sudden for her, cancer. And then I lost my aunt, I lost my uncle. 6 months later after that, then I lost a best friend of mine, sister, who was just like a best friend too. She died of cancer. And then we lost one of my dear friends, LaTanya. suddenly as well, was not prepared for that. But I collect hats.
Yes.
And so I have a hat from LaTanya. I have a hat from my girlfriend Nikki's mom. And I have these things from my grandmother and my father. And I have, right? Whoops. I have this hat from my nephew. And I will wear it in his memory. And every time I put it on, I will be thinking of him. And I do the same when I wear hats from everybody else. But this was one of the hats with my, Kangos. My father wore Kangos too, but this is one of his hats that I would just put on and think, I could wear it like him. But that's one of the things that sort of I allow myself to get through what that is, and then submit to a community of friends and family members to really help walk through. And as I say that, I am being that for my sister, right? She's walking through this very differently from me because it's her son.
Right.
And so therefore, I'm trying to be that big support for her as she has lost her son. And they tell me it is one thing to lose someone, but it is a whole different story to lose a child. And my sister, is really going through. And so we're here really to just sort of help you guys see that it happens to everyone, of course. And then how you show up in that and how you walk through that is going to be important. We want to know, my nephew, he was a jokester. He always liked jokes, but he was also straightforward, told you exactly how he feels. He wasn't diabetic, and he actually lived his life. He really, he didn't want nothing to stop him from doing what he did, even though he, had a false eye. He was amputated. He still drove. He still wanted to go places. He really liked trying different foods, so it wasn't like, he did stick within his diet, but he still liked to try different foods. So those are the legacies that he leave behind for us, and the things that I've kind of do when I lose someone in my life. That is that important to me. And so the legacy of loss is important in how you guys deal with that. And so, you can.
It's crazy about, it's the legacy of loss and the impact of loss as well.
Yeah.
Because that impact, it stays with you, and the memories, the good and bad memories, and the questions. And I'm sure we'll be able to dive into those type of things more in episodes to come. But, I wanted to take this time just to encourage my sister and let her know that you do have a community, and you have a community that surrounds and supports your family, and that we're praying for your sister and for your family. And it's never easy. And so this episode 100% is dedicated to Gary and all of what he lived for, and that we continue to live out, through him and for him. So don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Join us on all of our social media handles, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and we would love to hear. And if you need to share your story, just to get it out, just to speak on it, please put in the chat some of the things, maybe the impact of loss that you've experienced. And we would love to share and to support you. So thank you for joining us for episode number 4.
Number 4. Yes.
Take care, guys.
Thank you.